we will also hear from the Atlantic cities. Our next speaker is Ms. Tamara Espinero, Secretary General of the Atlantic cities, who will share her views on the blue dimension of the Atlantic cities cooperation. As we said, we want all the stakeholders involved in the implementation of this action plan. So Tamara, the floor is yours. You have also 5 minutes.
Thank you, Christos. My name is Tamara. It's an Celtic name, so you cannot be more Atlantic than me. I've been working since 2009 in the Atlantic cities. First of all, I would like to thank the Commission for this invitation, and I would like to send you the apologies of our president, who was urgently called by the Portuguese government to Lisbon. That's why he couldn't come today. So today we're speaking about the Atlantic cities experience in the Atlantic strategy and how they view the possibilities for cooperation. And first of all, we have to know that our stance on the Atlantic strategy was to compare it with the Baltic strategy already in 2009. So I was the first person writing about the Atlantic strategy, and now I'm the oldest chick in town for the Atlantic. That's more or less about me. About the network, it is an independent organization. It is with a regime of an association of cities at a large sense. So agglomerations, cities, towns, port cities, non-port cities, etc., that have been cooperating for 20 years now. And of those 20 years, we've been calling since 2008 our San Sebastian Charter for a stronger cooperation between the territories of the Atlantic Arc. What do we mean by stronger cooperation? We mean first to align the different fundings and policies, not doing one side territorial cooperation, another side blue economy, another side social. So we need to see the Atlantic area as a whole and maybe see it larger than the maps that we have today. And secondly, we need to count on all the levels of governance, cities included. Finally, we need to think the territory as an ecosystem where we go from the coast to the hinterland. So when they ask me if Santiago de Compostela or Poitiers are port cities, yes, they are. Because the containers that arrive to A Coruña or to La Rochelle pass through Poitiers or Santiago. So they are port cities, even if they don't have sea. So when we are thinking about the Atlantic strategy, we must not stop the strategy and the actions in the beach. What would be a logical translation of this proposal? Well, the Atlantic corridor, the transport. It is a key thing to be included and to be aligned, as I say, policies, programs, and also the territory. So we need a better Atlantic corridor, including the economic, social, and even just city-to-city cooperation questions. Finally, for the added value, for the new action plan, we recognize that it's more concrete. The first action plan was too general, but it was needed to be so because it was a first, and that we needed to involve as many people and organizations as possible. It is bluer, if we may say so. We have a more blue economy addressed objectives, more economy of the sea, more persons of the sea, like in the dimension for blue skills. And I want to kill my cat now. And and finally, we are very happy with the new structure because we've been striving to have a position at the committee of the Atlantic strategy, even if we have been since the very beginning a part of other committees like the Interreg Atlantic Area Committee, and other committees of the European Commission, like the Structural Funds Dialogue, are really accepted us as a member. So now we are happy that we are in, we are thankful, and that's a sign that the Atlantic Strategy Plan has a rethought governance. And finally, for the evolution possibilities, Christos was saying about a better embedding on structural funds and other funding. That's also our position. Secondly, we were thinking about the main principles that guides the European Union policies on territories, which are subsidiarity and territorial cohesion. As for subsidiarity, we think that we have really to work on devolution and how the Atlantic strategy works in devolution contexts. And for territorial cohesion, and I think that Elise later on will insist in this point, we think that a macro region for the Atlantic area is paramount. Our problems and our issues and our challenges, especially in these times of COVID and Brexit at the same time, cannot be solved just with a maritime strategy. We need more, even if the maritime strategy is a very big first step, and that we will support it as a whole. And finally, let's think about the scale economies, because we are in a world that is interconnected, and the Atlantic Ocean does not stop at the European coast. We have other coasts on the north and south and on the west. So maybe the Atlantic strategy has to think about cooperation with other Atlantic name initiatives, such as the Atlantic Regional Initiative of ESA, the Europe Space Agency, or other initiatives with IMO or NAFO. And that's not forgetting the oceans dimension of UNESCO. And that's for all for now. I will be looking to take questions later on. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Tamara, also being the senior of the Atlantic Strategy. Thank you for reminding us this, and also for maintaining the ambitions around the strategy and the action plan, looking forward to developing it even further. I think your contribution was well noted, and we also know that you like cats now. So extend the question to Tamara, whether you want also to say how you see, how we can have a more success in the implementation of the new action plan with these more successful partnerships to be created at local level. Tamara, would you like to take the floor?
Yes, please. Well, we were speaking in the last question about the blue proximity. How do we build this blue proximity? First of all, we have to know, even if we already know, that the cities and the majors are the level that are the nearest to the citizens. And we have to build upon what's already existing. So, for example, in the Fisheries Fund, we have the groups of local actors to the GAL to work with, and they were working already on their own action plans to develop, so that we have several groups all along the Atlantic coast working on Atlantic matters from the ground. We can use also URBACT local action groups for those cities that are maritime. We can work together with the EU programs contacts that are in constant contact with the actors like Europe Direct or Team Europe or the national points of H2020 or other programs, as Elise said, like the Interreg Committee, Monitoring Committee, of which I'm a member. And moreover, we have to go to the projects, not only to those projects that we identified as European projects and that were included on the analysis we have already done for the Atlantic strategy so far, but as for transnational projects that are not directly funded by the European Union. I'm speaking about, for example, festivals. The Tall Ships Festival goes from Atlantic City to Atlantic City. So it is a real opportunity to get hold of what's already happening on the Atlantic coast from the marine profession. And we can also think of heritage and work together with the Hermione or Belém or even the Gileanes at Viana do Castelo. So working on the potential already existing on blue issues in the Atlantic area and arriving to the citizens and the actors that were speaking from the beginning. And finally, I will insist in the international dimension, because when you are a sea actor, you need a unique or concrete window to go. And you have the European Commission from one side and you have the national from another. And we have already other Atlantic actions ongoing. As I said, we are stakeholders for the Atlantic regional initiative for the European Space Agency. So we need to work together with UNESCO and the oceans dimension, or with EMO, or even with the OCDE, but try to make everybody at the table, from the very bit with the groups of the Fisheries Fund until the Secretary General of OCDE. Everybody has to be on the same blue line. That's our opinion from the cities. Thank you very much.